Hey. This is Mike Ramos again from your car dealer bond, telling you guys thank you so much for continuing to listen to the Your Car Dealer podcast. Just getting right down to business here. I had a quick thought that came to me, and that I know that there's a fine line between, so I figured I'd cut some content on it. And this is not only for small business owners, not only for retail used car dealers. This is not only for wholesalers, auto brokers, you name your business model. This is going to fit what you're unless you've found the happy medium that really works for you here in this particular respect. It's gonna cross your plate. It's almost like, to take for instance something like procrastination. Doesn't matter your business model, there is going to be some times where you may procrastinate. Some people do it a hell of a lot more than others, but in this respect, what I was thinking about was multitasking, right? This is, for some of you guys, it's the magic, it's the secret sauce, if you will, behind how you get a lot of different things done. For others, you overuse this skill, and it's a skill. It's exactly what it is. It's a skill that you're going to hone, that some people are for shit when it comes to this. Trust me. I'm related to some of them. Unfortunately, trust me, I deal with this frequently. Matter of fact, I'm going to say it fucking frequently. I deal with this fucking frequently when somebody has way too much confidence that they're good at multitasking, and really, honestly, they're for shit when it comes to this. There's some people that can do this really well. Usually the people that have been put in a position to have to do this are the ones that are really good at it. And this is the truth. There's people where they could be on, and I'm telling you that I've seen it in person. I've seen it within the last 2 months. This is for real. I've probably even seen it within the last month, where somebody's on the phone making a business call, is on hold, and let's say it's with a bank or some other institution where you know you're going to be on hold for at least 10 minutes. Might be 8 minutes, might be 15, you don't know. But you know there's a hold coming, and this person's sitting there with that fucking phone in their ear hole, just sitting there like, put the fucking thing on speaker, man. Get something else done. Free your hands up and get busy. What the hell are you doing? And I mean, this is absolutely a trip. Now, there's the flip side. Again, there's some people that just can't do it, and that's it's detrimental when they try. They screw up two different things simultaneously. These people you don't want trying to do that. That's probably not you guys. I'm gonna gander and step out on a limb to say that most of you guys are listening to this are actually multitaskers by nature. Right, you guys are probably even really good at it. So the point is, though, that when you overutilize this, and I see the tendency myself into doing it, because I myself multitask quite a bit to get different things done. I might be waiting in line, and I might be sending multiple texts or reading multiple emails or doing so. Now, the second the line frees up, well, I'm back in action, right? And I'm moving forward. But, there's a lot of times, man, where I have a free extra 5 minutes. My son's football game, they're at halftime. Well, guess what I'm doing? I'm not sitting there picking my nose. I mean, at that point, I'm listening to voicemails, calling people back that I need to call back. Perhaps it's something like I've got to then respond to some emails that I can pick up really easily from my phone and respond to. Perhaps it's that this week we were going through this where we were looking at different designs for a logo, for some development, some research, and some little R&D we got going here that we are going to be unraveling to you guys real soon. And all these different, these different iterations where I'm not really necessarily trying to split my focus. I am in some respects from the fact that I'm sort of quarantined into this place. I've got to be there for the next hour and a half because I got to be there for my son's game. But the reality is he's not going to be playing for an hour and a half. There's going to be 15 minutes before the game where we just get there early and then we gotta sit there. Well, I take 15 minutes of work for that period of time, and then at halftime I know I've got another 10 to 12, maybe 15 minutes, and then at the end of the game I might be able to sneak in 5 minutes of stuff where he's gathering his stuff, in line to say high fives to the other team, all that stuff. So there is some ability for me, but I don't sit there and try to intermingle and have my eyes look up for a second while the play is going on, and then in between plays I'm sitting there. That gets to be A, exhausting, and B, the division of focus is something that you've got to be careful for, especially if you're a good multitasker. You sometimes can tend to fall into a trap of being good at this thing and knowing that you're good at it, and unfortunately it works, and it working against you, because when you split that focus, you might have, and you're only so good, right? Don't think that you're better than you are. Don't get it twisted. You're only as good as you are at this thing. But if you're trying to do math, right, and you're trying to, and you're crunching spreadsheets, or you're working on a rating algorithm for something, or you're working on something like that, and in your ear hole you've got a marketing video you're trying to listen to follow along with, to see if you can create your next marketing piece of content in a certain way, in a step-by-step procedural process. Those two parts of your brain are not going to complement each other well when you're pulling from the energy that piece of your brain is able to deliver to you. So that's a very real thing where you're going to be almost useless to both tasks in that way. And in that case, you're best off focusing one direction and then focusing in the other. When you're using the same part of your brain, the analytical part of your brain, let's say, right? You could, now there's a way to kill two birds with one stone. I used to frequently swim, and at the same time I would think through certain processes or certain challenges that we had from the company that I had to just kind of noodle on, and to figure out, what should I do here? Should I do X? Should I do Y? Or should I do Z? Or none of the above? Or some amalgamation of all of the above, right? And this is a sincere thought process that's going through my brain, but I'm doing it while I'm taking a shower, while I'm washing dishes, while I'm pruning my tree outside, or gardening, or laying down some pavers right outside, in the backyard. These are things that where, if you're able to kill two birds with one stone, you're multitasking, but I'm using two totally separate parts. One's almost brainless. I can be that just as long as I can sit there and think about, okay, what's the design I'm trying to create in my backyard? Okay, these bricks are going to lay a certain way. Okay, good. Or I've got these holes to create, and then we're going to fill them with plants, or we're going to dig out this backyard. I can dig and think at the same time. That's pretty easy. But thinking about, so I think you guys get the point, is that this multitasking thing I know happens frequently with a lot of us business owners. One, because we have such a limited span of time. And the other reason is because this is something that we're usually good at, but there is a fine line. And all that to say that it really does give it some thought process of what to pair. Just like there's certain wines that pair really well with certain meats, there's certain cheeses that pair really well with wines. There's certain, if you had two dancers, there's certain dancers that would pair well together. There's certain boxers or wrestlers that would pair well together, and then there's others that wouldn't. They'd have a horrible match against each other. It'd be super boring because they just cancel each other out, sort of. Football team, you name it. Right, so there's this pairing that you should go. The pairing that's going on, you got to be real cognizant of. Are these two tasks that I can pair together properly, efficiently, and still be profitable with my time? Have a good exchange of the amount of time that I'm giving to it. Because if it would take me 10 minutes to do one of these things and then 10 minutes to do the other, but I could get them both done in 16 minutes. At the same quality, you got a slight win, right? That's good enough if you do that all day long. And if you can figure some of those things out, or not even all day long, if 20% of your day you can get 20% more out of that amount of time, it's worth it, right? The problem turns out to be when you're saving the 4 minutes, but your productivity, the actual end result, was 30% worse or 20% worse. And it's worse because you weren't quite as focused in one of the areas or in both of the areas, because they took away from some of your attention that you really needed to be able to make that proper decision, or that proper to solve one particular part of this. You might have skipped over and missed it, and all of a sudden the rest of this is not built on solid foundation. So anyway, this is all that to say that I think it was worth mentioning, because it's different things. I'm really spending time to think about what should I pair to do during these periods of time when I know I'm gonna be hemmed in to having some downtime, but at the same time I can't just completely pivot away from the attention that I have to give it. I also can't, do too many of these different things that are very, very difficult in nature. I can't just pair these two things together, because they're really going to be, at the end of the day, they're going to be horribly taxing on my mind in the exact same way, to where I shouldn't be pairing these two things together. And I've learned over time certain things that I'm good at pairing together and certain things that I'm not. There's times where I'm listening to different teachings that I've got on, I'm listening to, and different courses that I've got. And then there's certain, now all of a sudden, if I'm trying to write a letter and wordsmith it, or write an email and really wordsmith it properly, I've got two totally different things going in my brain at the exact same time, and it's completely confusing, and I'm really horrible at that. Maybe there's people that are good at that. I'm not for shit when it comes to that. So I don't do it. So here's a good example. Today, matter of fact, right now, I just went to go pick up dinner, and at the same time, I'm cutting content here. It might be a little choppy for you guys in the background, and it might not be ideal, but it's organic. It's the way it is. I'm not fisting you guys shit. This is really what's going down. And it's really, it's real. This is my, you guys are kind of following me around, if you will. I'm kind of taking you guys along for the ride. But, having to drive over here, at first I was thinking, God, that sucks. I got to take off, go drive over here and go pick this. But then I started thinking about it. It's like, yeah, but this is a point where I could cut 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes of content and, get into one thought, give you guys just a tip, and kind of get you guys running on your way. And this is something that's it's sort of been the secret, a little bit of our success, is being able to properly pair some of these things where I'm able to, not a complete pivot, right? This is not the art of the pivot. If you guys missed that episode, I think it was last season 3, art of the pivot. Check it out. This is not that, though. I'm not talking about completely pivoting away to something else to do. I'm talking about specifically now, you're now dividing your attention between two things, but you're trying to divide it in the most logical way. What else could I possibly do as I'm driving down the street? I'm not really, and what I'm having to divert attention from isn't going to get me into an accident. I drive like the oldest lady matter of fact, the oldest lady I know is my grandmother, and I drive way slower than her. My gosh, she's a bat out of hell. Always has been, but as a matter of fact, a liability hazard too. Jesus Christ, I wish I knew her insurance company. I'd write them an anonymous letter. These freaks are sitting there still insuring her too, after she's had like 2 or 3 accidents in the last 3 years or so, and she's in her 80s. She's no business driving. I'll be the first one to say it. I tell her frequently, what are you doing driving? Anyway, it doesn't, there's no diversion of attention that's really costing me anything at that point. I'm having to divert some of my attention from some of my streams of thought that are coming through to you guys, but hopefully it doesn't detour from the value. Just, every once in a while, if I'm coming up to a yellow light and I'm trying to make a decision whether to, I always slow down. I never speed up. So I always just default to that. It's pretty simple, actually. But if I've got to make a turn or I've got to navigate a certain, whatever, I might be a little bit less focused on exactly what it is I'm talking to you guys about. But it usually lasts a couple seconds, or I usually pause it and I'm on my way. So again, a great example of, when I'm, again, taking a shower. If I've got to solve a problem, chances are I'm thinking about it while I'm in the shower, or thinking about it while I'm out doing some busy work in the backyard, or like washing dishes. Always, for some reason, washing dishes, I got great thoughts that stream through my mind while I'm hearing running water. I think I've mentioned that before. If you guys have heard some of the podcasts before, you guys will remember that. But for some reason, when there's running water, and I look like a hero, I'm sitting here washing dishes, trying to help my wife, telling her, hey, I'm trying to help you keep keep your sanity together, and not have a pigsty around here. And we got 2 kids that should be doing a little more of this on their own. But hey, I'm helping you. I'm getting these thoughts running through my mind, and eventually, a lot of times I'm coming up with actual, real answers. Maybe not the complete, full answer that I'm going to eventually end up taking into battle and saying, here's the silver bullet, here's how we fix it. It might be something less pronounced. It might be as simple as, well, you know what, I know what next step needs to be now. I need to go and call this guy, and I didn't really think about it. I have this problem, but who's been through this before, who potentially has the answer to solve this problem for me. I can just make a call to this guy, or send him an email tomorrow or tonight and see what he says. If he doesn't have the answer, he might be able to turn me on to somebody else, or at the very least, give me something to gnaw on and say, hey, you know what? I went through this. Here were the things that I wish somebody would have sat me down and had me consider at that point. But, I think you'd be really well off to really think about X, Y, and even Z if you're going to go and do this move over here and whatever it is that you're trying to, accomplish. It may be as simple as just, oh, shoot, this is a guy I've got a resource here. Or, shit, you know what, I bet you this guy over here, he might know somebody who's been through this. He might not have been through it, but he might know somebody. But, my brother's a lawyer. He's a contract lawyer. He might not necessarily have the drop on or no really insights on trademark law, let's say. We're in the short future, you guys will see why I'm specifically using that example. But let's say something like trademark law. He might not know trademark law, but he might have a real good resource and say, that's not my wheelhouse, but this over here, this move here, this is this guy's wheelhouse. I'll turn you on to him and he'll get you dialed in. This guy's a beast. This is who you want to talk to. If I had a trademark question, this is who I'd go to. Right? And that something that simple. Or it might be the answer sometimes. Sometimes it is the answer. That's what I get from those sessions. But I think you guys get what I'm saying here. All that to say that as we continue to split our attention off into different directions, really give some thought into the proper pairing of the two tasks that you're going to split the attention between. So for what it's worth, those are my thoughts on the multitasking thing. All things for used car dealers. We're really building a lot of authority into things that we're doing and different things that we're bringing to the table for a lot of the dealers that we're helping out. Helping a ton of startups. If that's you, if you're sort of a startup within the first year or two of business, there may be some sputtering around that you're doing. We're really helping some dealers get lined out, and some of them kind of got their wires twisted here and there, and we're really helping them through the process. So we've been a little less frequent with the content here, just because we've been really helping give some of these good folks out there a helping hand to try to get them kicked in the right direction, whether it's with their marketing or whether it's their business foundation that hasn't really been structured properly, or they don't have the right focus, in what they're doing and how they're really going to penetrate, or haven't had a well-developed business plan. I mean, we're really helping in a lot of different areas. If that's you, if you need some of that type of assistant, maybe it's that the business is lagging, or it really even hasn't picked up. It's so new, it may have never picked up, much less it's not like, oh, we're in a downturn. We were doing $1 million, now we're doing 800,000, and we gotta make it hot again. Some of you guys, it's not that. Some of you guys, it's, I've yet to sell my first car and I've been licensed for 6 months, or I've sold my first car and that happened pretty quickly, but ever since then it's been dead. Or, I was selling 4 cars a month and now I'm down to 2 cars a month, and I don't really know the right way to keep on conjuring up more traffic, based on the guys around me eating my lunch. Those are the types of problems we're also able, in addition to a surety bond, of course. If you guys need your surety bond for your car dealership, whether it's a $10,000 bond, a $50,000 bond, retail, wholesale, doesn't matter. We can definitely help you with your bond, satisfying that bond requirement. But above all else, I really want to help you guys succeed and thrive in the business. So definitely slide into those DMs, Your Car Dealer Bond on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. Again, Your Car Dealer Bond on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. Definitely hit me up. 866-357-4405. This is Mike Ramos, the president and the founder of Your Car Dealer Bond. Again, thanking you guys for tuning into the Your Car Dealer podcast. Can't thank you guys enough for continuing to help out, spread the word, keep helping us keep it hot. And we're going to continue to try to tighten you guys down with more and more content. Again, got nothing but love for all you guys. You guys take care out there. Have a great week. Keep slanging them cars.